welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today I'm so excited because we are introducing this brand new kit. It's called Charge Me Up and it's a light up card making kit. We have collaborated with our friends at Chibitronics to create this really cool exclusive limited edition kit. This kit includes templates that are going to help you learn how to make really cool interactive light-up cards with Chibitronics and with lawnfawn. And here in this intro video, we're going to show you how all of these pieces work together. And we're going to be making 3 cards in this video. The card on the left and the right are the cards included in the kit. And the one in the middle, we're going to be showing you how to take the templates in the kit and applying them to different types of cards. So this is going to be so super cool. So let's check out what's inside this kit. So first up, we have this exclusive light kit by Chibitronics, and in this kit there's 15 feet of copper tape, there are 2 batteries, and 6 LED lights. Then we have an exclusive stamp and coordinating die by lawnfawn. So this one's called Charge Me Up, and that little robot is so cute. And there's even a special little die to help you create the holes for your Chibitronics lights. We also have a little paper in here with a QR code that's going to lead you to a page with some exclusive content. So we're going to have an exclusive video on there and also a place to download instructions and download the template so you can print more for more cards. So all you have to do is just scan that, or you can type in that web page right there and you'll be able to find all of these cool extra goodies to go along with the kit. Next up, we have these awesome templates. So we have those switch parts there, and then we have the 2 different templates, and we're going to be showing you how to use these in the videos today. And then we also have all of the pieces for the cards that you're going to make while learning how to use the Chibitronics light in the kits too. So there you can see we've got all of these cool little pattern papers that are cut down and ready to put onto your card, including 2 card bases too. We even have some extra white cardstock to stamp those adorable robots on. And then here, when you go to that web page by either scanning the QR code or typing in the page, you're going to be able to print out written instructions. So you can follow along with this video, or you can follow along with the written instructions, or even go back and forth and kind of mix and match. So now we're going to go ahead and stamp this adorable Charge Me Up stamp set. So first we're going to stamp this super sweet robot. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp all of his accessories. So he has this cool little shine there, which you can stamp over the little top part of the robot's head. So you can see what that shine mark looks like just there. And then there's all these cool little stamps that you can stamp either around him or also in his belly. So we have this little meter light, which you can stamp in his belly or not. We also have a cute little heart, which I like using to kind of set the scene, or to stamp in his belly, which looks super, super cute. Here we have a stamp for helping you create a button that you can press to make your light up cards light up. And then there's the little words here for push here. Those push here words can fit right in his belly. You can stamp them without the little border there, or you can stamp them in that little border that kind of creates the look of a button. So I like that you can use those push here words in so many different ways. We have a bow, which you can add as a bow tie or a little hair bow for the robot. And then we have the really fun sentiment, "You charge me up." We're going to go ahead and stamp that little meter in his belly, and we're going to be starting to color in this robot. And I'm going to be using toner grays, but cool grays look really nice on the robot as well. I'm adding a little darkness and then blending out with my mediums and then out into my light. And I like having that little area towards the bottom of his face be a little darker. I just think it looks really cool, and it kind of makes him almost look a little 3D. In this case, I'm going to use pink as an accent color. So I'm going to color the meter, his neck, arms, legs, and ears in that pink. And I love the pop of the pink on the gray. And so we'll color the accessories in the pink too. And then that other meter and the button in blue. So I love the mix of pink and blue. We're going to be using that on one of the cards. So these are the coordinating dies, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate them. We're going to take those dies and line them up with the stamped images and then hold them in place with some low tack tape before we run them through our die cut machine. You can see just how cute he looks all cut out. So here you can see all of the little pieces and how you can layer that button right on top of the robot, or use the heart on his belly, or the hair bow, or as a little bow tie as well. Now next I want to show you that extra tiny little die that's included in the die set. And what this is perfect for is for opening a hole for your light to shine through in the card. So you're going to see us use this die in a lot of cool different ways. And the first way we're going to use it is we're going to use it to line up on the top antenna of this robot because we want that part to light up. So how I like to line this die up is as I just take a little black pen, I'm going to put a black dot in the center, and that's going to help me line up my die because I can look through the hole in that die and line it right up with that black dot that I just created. And then we can hold that die in place with some low tack tape and run it through the die cut machine. Now you'll see as we bring it back, you're going to see there's a little hole cut right in the antenna and the light's going to be able to shine through that. Another way to use this little tiny die is to use it before you actually cut your robot out of your paper. So I'm going to make my little black dot right in the center of the antenna, and then that way I can line up that die and stick it down to that whole sheet of paper. It's a little bit easier to do it this way, so it's really nice to cut the little antenna hole first and then die cut the whole robot. But either way works. It's just kind of a personal preference kind of thing. So here there you can see how we've got that hole in the antenna, and that's where the light is going to shine through. So I've gone ahead and stamped and cut a bunch more hearts and a little hair bow, and we're going to be starting to work on the first card that's included in this really cool kit. So here you can see all of the pieces. I've got my template there. So that's the template that goes along with this pink card. And then all of these little pieces that have all been cut down for you. So what's really nice about this is we're really learning here how to put our lights together because all of these pieces are all done and you just have to put them right on top of the card to decorate it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that guava cardstock and layer that right onto our card base. Then next we need to do our stamping. So I'm going to be stamping the Charge Me Up sentiment here right in the center of that beautiful flowered paper. Next, I need to stamp that little button for push here. So I'm going to take the template and line it up with the pattern paper, and that's going to give me a guide as to where I need to stamp that little button. So I'm going to stamp it right underneath that square because that's where the battery is going to eventually go. So we're going to ink that up just like that and then stamp that right onto the pattern paper. Once we have our button stamped, we can go ahead and stamp the push here in that, and the stamping on this pattern paper piece is done. So next we're going to use that same template as a guide as to where we're going to poke holes through our pattern paper for those lights to shine through. So we're going to line that template right over that speckled pattern paper, and then I'm going to use a die pokey tool here. Any kind of sharp thing like a needle or something would work, and we're going to poke a hole through those little triangles there. Those triangles are eventually going to be where we put our LED lights. So we're going to poke those two holes through, and now we're going to have the holes on the pattern paper that's underneath. Then the next thing we're going to do is take that same little tiny die that we used to cut the holes in the antenna of the robot, and we're going to cut holes lining up right where we poked that piece through, just like that. And so now we've got a hole there on the left and the right side that's going to line up perfectly with our cute little robots. We're going to add some tape runner to the back of that piece that we stamped earlier and layer that on the bottom to be a ground for our robots. And then I'm going to add a little liquid glue using a glue tube onto that cute little hair bow there, and we're going to add that onto our pink robot. And I'm going to use some foam squares on the backs of these robots so that they're nice and popped up off the card. It's going to give it some nice dimension. Then we can layer these robots right onto that pattern paper. So we're going to layer over the hole in the antenna, over the hole that we created onto the pattern paper. So just like that, we're going to pop those guys right up. And then you'll see that we have another strip of pattern paper which has that darker pink. It's the back side of that beautiful floral. And we're going to layer that right on top just to give a nice contrast and a little extra place for these guys to be standing. Then next we're going to take all of those hearts that we colored and die cut and layer them right all around these robots. And it looks so super cute to have these hearts floating in the air. Now these cards, these first two that we're making today, were designed by Aiko from the Chibitronics team. So thank you so much, Aiko, for these beautiful, beautiful cards. There's a piece of vellum included in this kit, and we're going to be using that vellum to diffuse the light that's coming through so that it's not so bright, that it's more of a glow. So I'm just going to take my scissors here and cut two tiny little squares that are going to layer behind those holes that we cut into that pattern paper. And so what I like to do is I just take my tape runner and run it right over those two holes and then layer that piece of vellum right on top of that. And that's going to give it just this really beautiful soft glow. Now it's time to get to the exciting part. We're going to be working with this awesome template. So you'll see here we have the template there on the left, and then we've got these switch parts on the right. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these switch parts apart. You'll see that the longer rectangle is going to be the inside part of the switch, and that smaller square there is going to be the outside part of the switch. I'm just going to use my scissors to just trim these. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to all be hidden in the card. And we're going to be folding that longer piece in half. And when you fold it, you want to make sure that the positive and negative there, that design is on the inside because that's our inside piece. So we're going to fold it so that the design is on the inside. Then we're going to be layering that one positive piece there, that one smaller square on the outside. And when you layer that on there, you want to make sure you're layering positive to positive, plus sign to plus sign. So you'll see I'm layering the plus sign on the outside, and when I look on the inside, there's a plus sign right there. Then we're going to add some adhesive to the back of this whole switch, and that's going to be right on that blank piece where there's no printing. And then we're going to layer that onto the card. And you're going to make sure that the negative track lines up with the negative track and the positive track lines up with the positive track. Next, we're going to take out the copper tape and we're going to be following the tracks on this template. Now, this copper tape is really cool because you peel off a backer and it's going to be sticky on one side. So we're going to start with that negative track there and we're going to line it all the way up. Now, to turn the corner, I like to peel it backwards, just like that. Kind of press it down a little bit, and then we're going to move forward in that direction. And that's going to help you change direction. So you'll see I'm going to push it back and then pull it forward, just like that. And then we can go ahead and finish up the negative part of the track. Now this tape tears really easily, so you can either tear it or use your scissors. So here I'm just going to go ahead and use those scissors and trim that right off. Then I'm going to use my bone folder to smooth the edges of the copper tape, and this is important to make sure there's a nice smooth connection with that copper tape. Once we have the negative track all nice and smooth, we can start to work on the positive track. Now on the positive track, you want to make sure that you start on the inside of that switch and then wrap your way around to the outside part of the switch. Then you're going to follow that down onto the template, and we're going to turn the corner in the same way again. We're going to bend that tape back and then switch direction, starting to go forward. We'll continue to follow the track, and then we're going to have one more bend to make. So once again, once we get to that corner, we're going to bend the tape back, and then we'll be able to move forward into that other direction, just like that. Once you get to the end, you can either tear it or use your scissors to snip it off right there. And then we're going to take the bone folder and once again smooth those edges so that there's a really nice connection on the inside of the switch, on the outside of the switch, and onto the whole template. Next, we're going to be working with the LED lights, and these are cool little LED lights stickers. And you'll see that they have a negative and a positive on them, and of course you want the positive to touch the positive and the negative to touch the negative. The cool thing is it's actually drawn out for you on the template, so you don't even have to think about it. You're just going to match that sticker up right with the drawing that we have on the template. And you want to make sure that the top part of the little pointy part of the LED light sticks to the negative track, and the flatter part of the LED light, the base of it, sticks to the positive track. So we have to make sure we have a nice connection. Now our battery has the same thing. It has a positive side on one side and a negative side on the other. So you can see there as you put it inside the switch, it's going to start lighting up. Now this is a great tip from Aiko, and just to make sure that those LED lights are nice and secure, we're going to take some of the copper tape and just put teeny little strips on the top and the bottom where the connection of the LED light to the copper tape happens. This is going to give it a nice little reinforcement, making sure they stay in place and that there's a really nice connection and we have a really great light up effect. So I'm just taking tiny little pieces of that copper tape and reinforcing the top and the bottom of the lights. And now we're going to pop that battery in positive side up, and this is the best part. Oh my goodness, it's so cool because the lights are both going to light up. Now next we're going to be working with foam tape, and you're going to want a triple layer of foam tape here. So I'm going to take my tape and bend it in half and stick it to itself to create a double layer, and then we'll repeat that again to create a triple layer. This height is going to give enough space for the battery to fit in your card so that when you press down, you're going to create that connection between the copper tape and the battery. So the triple foam really is the trick here to getting a really, really nice working card. So I've got that triple there, and then I'm just going to trim this down into thin strips to use on the card. First, we're going to go all the way around the edges of the card, and then we're going to be working on the battery. And you want to create a pocket around your battery with the foam tape so that the battery doesn't just fall right out of the card. So what I'm going to do is cut down thin strips and go all the way around the battery on the three sides of the battery to create a really cool kind of foam pocket for it. And the best way to test that your foam pocket is working there is just to pick up the card and make sure that battery stays right in place. Next, we'll add a bunch of foam tape all around to support the card front. We'll peel off that liner paper, and now we can layer that card front that we worked decorating on earlier. So we're going to layer this card front right on top of that foam. And look how cute that is. Oh my goodness, I keep playing with these cards. I can't get over how much fun they are. So I'm going to add a bunch of tape runner to the back of that whole panel and layer that onto the card base, and now the card is done. And what I love so much about this is that the template made it so easy for me to create one of these cards and really learn how to put one of them together. So you can see now how cute that is. This would make someone's day? They would flip out if they got this in the mail. Oh my goodness. And it was so much fun to put together. I had such a blast. So now that we've gone ahead and practiced with this template, we're going to go and practice with the other template included in the kit. So we'll go ahead and add that little pen mark there right in the center of the antenna so that we can line up that tiny die that's going to create the hole for our light. We can run that through the die cut machine, and now we're going to have a nice little hole in the antenna for the light to shine through. And then we can run the whole robot with its coordinating die through the machine as well. Then next, we're going to take the mermaid cardstock included in the kit, and we're going to layer that onto the card base. And this is a top folding card base because we're going to be making a portrait card this time. And now we're going to be practicing the steps we learned with the first card. So I'm going to line that template over the pattern paper, and I'm going to poke a hole there through both of those LED light little triangles, just like we did earlier. And then we're going to be using a 2.5-inch circle die. You could also use a 2.5-inch circle punch. And I'm using my robot there as a guide as to where I need to line up my circle on the card. So I'm going to line up the robot with that little hole that I just poked for the LED light. We'll hold it in place with some low-tack tape and run it through the die cut machine, and now we're going to have a hole cut in the center of the card. Then in the kit, we've included that beautiful blue speckled paper there, that aqua speckled paper, and we're going to be layering that right behind that piece that we've cut the circle out of. Once we have that speckled paper layered behind, we're going to go ahead and take the template and poke some more holes there. Those first holes were a guide as to where we were going to cut our circle, and now these holes here are going to be a guide as to where we're going to line up the robot and that tiny little circle die. So we're going to poke a hole right through the center there of both of those lights once again, and then we're going to be working with the tiny die there that's meant for the light. So we're going to line that up, run it through the die cut machine, and now we have a hole and perfect placement there to line up our cute little robot on. Now this time we thought it would be cute to do something a little bit different, so his belly is also going to light up along with his antenna, but we're going to be using the heart die, the coordinating heart die that is in the set to do this. So first up, we're going to adhere our robot down onto the card, and then we're going to take that heart die and line it right into his belly and hold it in place with some tape. And this is going to die cut a hole in both the robot and into the pattern paper on the card. Then we can go ahead and start to work with some vellum again. So we're going to take the piece of vellum that's included in the kit, and we're going to cut a little square here, kind of a larger square, so that it's going to fit behind the heart of his belly. Then we'll go ahead and do some stamping. So we're going to stamp "You Charge Me Up" onto that white speckled paper there, and then we're going to stamp the heart right onto the vellum. So that heart is going to show through the belly of the robot, and it's going to look really cute when it's all lit up. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the sentiment strip, and we're going to layer that onto the mermaid cardstock rectangle, and now we can layer that whole piece right onto the card. Then we can add some tape runner to the back of the whole piece, kind of the back part of the robot, and layer that heart vellum piece on there. We'll also take a smaller vellum piece and layer that behind the antenna of the robot to diffuse the light coming through both his belly and that cute little antenna on the top of his head. Now we're going to work with that switch in the same way that we did before. So we're going to trim out the inside and the outside pieces. We'll go ahead and fold along that longer piece, the inside piece, having that positive and negative be on the inside part of the fold. Then we're going to take the outside piece, which is the rectangle, and we're going to add some tape runner to the back of that, and we're going to make sure that the positive side is lining up with the positive side. So we're going to have positive on the outside and positive on the inside. Then we can go ahead and add some tape runner to the back of this whole thing there. So that's going to be the area that has no printing on it, and we can layer that right onto the card base. So we're going to layer that right onto the square in the card base, lining the negative track up with the negative track and the positive track up with the positive track. Then we're going to take our tape and we're going to go ahead and go along these tracks again. So right now we're going along the negative track. We can trim off right at the end and then use the bone folder to smooth it out. And then we're going to go on the positive track. Like on the positive track now, we want to make sure we start on the inside of the switch. We're going to wrap around to the outside part of the switch. And then we can go ahead and get to that corner. We're going to peel back and then move forward, and then we can start to just follow that track, kind of peeling back a little bit to follow the curves there of those tracks right along the template. Once we have those pieces stuck down, we can also take the bone folder and make sure we smooth those pieces out just like that. Then next up, it's time to work with the LED light stickers. Now remember, the LED light stickers have a negative and a positive on them, but you can also just follow the template. So you can look at the little triangle on the template and follow that as well. So we're going to put the flatter part there on the positive and the point goes towards the negative. And so we're going to add 2 of our lights on there, making sure that they're nice and secure. And just like last time, we'll use our copper tape, little tiny pieces of it, to reinforce the top and the bottom of the lights to make sure that they're nice and stuck down and have a great connection onto the card. We can use our bone folder to make sure that everything's nice and smooth along that copper tape and make sure that those lights are nice and secure. And then we're going to take our battery and we're going to find the positive side of the battery and we're going to put that right into the switch. And you'll see when you press down, those lights are going to light up and it's so cool. I never get over how much fun it is. So now we're going to be using triple foam, but I wanted to show you a different way. So I'm going to be using foam squares this time. So if you don't have foam tape, you can go ahead and use your foam squares. Just give yourself some nice triple foam. And we're going to go around the battery again to make sure we create an area to protect that battery so that it doesn't fall right out of that switch. And so we're going to pick up the card and make sure that battery stays perfectly in place. Our lights are still working. And now we can just add foam all around the rest of the card there so that we can layer our main card piece on top. We'll add some tape runner to the back of that whole mechanism that we worked on, give him a cute little bow tie, and right now I'm going to do something that made me super nervous. I forgot to stamp before I put the whole card together, so I should have stamped earlier, but thank goodness it turned out okay. So I went ahead and stamped on the card when it was all built, and it looks so super cute to have those shine lights coming out of the top of his antenna, and look how adorable it is when you press on the sentiment, his heart and his little antenna lights up. It's so sweet and so cute, and I am having so much fun making these cards. And then here you can see the two cards that we just worked on. So these are the cards that you can make with all of the pieces that are included in the kit. But the really cool thing is when you get the kit, you're going to follow that link or click that QR code. You're going to scan that and you're going to go to the website and you're going to be able to download a template and print them out to use them in different ways. So that's what we're going to be working on right now. So we're going to be taking out this Starry Backdrops, which is so super cute, and we're going to be doing some heat embossing. We're going to be stamping in some clear embossing ink, which is a nice sticky ink, and we're going to cover this whole piece of peacock cardstock that's been cut down to 5.5 by 4.25. So the great thing about this stamp is that you can stamp it and kind of keep continuing the pattern, and I love those stars. Then we're going to be using some gold heat embossing powder. We'll sprinkle that all over the card and heat it up so that we have this beautiful gold effect on the peacock, which I think is such a gorgeous color combination. Next, we're going to trim down a piece of white cardstock to 4.25 inches wide, and we're going to be using one of the stitched borders to add a little detail to the top. So this has this beautiful dotted detail, and we're going to layer that right onto the top of the card. Then for the bottom part of the card, we're going to be using a simple stitched hillside border, but we're going to be using kind of in a different way. So instead of using the hill part, we're going to use the other part, which is going to give it a really, really cool look and be a cool ground for our robots to stand on. For some extra sparkle, we're going to be adding a strip of this black sparkle cardstock from the Autumn collection to the top and the bottom. So we're going to add a strip to the top, and then we'll use that same simple stitched hillside die to cut that black cardstock so that those hills are going to line up, and we'll be able to layer that piece underneath, giving this really cool black sparkly detail for the top and the bottom, which I think really goes along with this whole light and robot effect. This time we're going to be stamping directly on the card, and we're actually not going to be cutting a hole for the light to shine through. The light's just going to shine through the cardstock, so it's going to be a bit of a different look, but it's going to be really cool and show you a different way to use these lights. So we're going to stamp both of these robots so they're kind of holding hands there, and then in their bellies we're going to go ahead and stamp both of the meters. And then we're going to be using die cut letters to create the rest of the sentiment. So here we have Cole's ABCs, and I went ahead and lined them up on a strip of Post-it note tape, or you could use washi tape too to hold them in place. And we're going to tape that right onto the card base. And by stamping those robots first, we had a good idea of where to place all those die cut letters. Now we have these really cool letters cut out from this card that we're working on. We're going to be using the push here that's included in the Charge Me Up stamp set. And we're also going to be stamping the You Charge Me Up. We're going to be using an arrow from the Push Here stamp set. So this stamp set is really great to mix and match with this Push Here stamp set because it has some great sentiments like Press Me or Push Here that are perfect for these kinds of cards. So we're going to use that arrow, and the arrow is going to be pointing to the robot's belly because that's going to be where you push for this card. So I went ahead and used my Copic markers to add some color, and I love the orange and the turquoise together. And we're going to go ahead and stamp the little light shines. This time I remembered to stamp it before creating the whole card, and you can see how cute that is, especially once you press to have him light up. I've trimmed down a piece of cardstock that's going to layer behind this little card that we've created, but it won't show through those thanks letters or through that bottom hill. And then I went ahead and printed out the template from that site that you're going to get in your kit. Now, the cool part about printing this out on computer paper is that the computer paper is a bit see-through, and that's how we're going to take this template and turn it to work with a different style of card. So right now I can look through and I want to line up that square there where the battery is going to go over my turquoise guy on the right, and I'm going to line up that light there with the top antenna of the guy on the left. Once everything's in perfect placement, I'm going to use my pencil to trace along the left side of the card there and also along the bottom part of the curve. Then on the right and top sides, we're just going to kind of freehand a line here so that we can make sure that that line is right underneath those thanks letters. And then we're just going to connect those two. And this is going to give us a guide as to how we're going to trim this template down so that it works with this new style of card. I'm also going to go ahead and draw the positive and negative symbols again because we're going to be trimming off the ones that are all the way over there to the left. So I'll just take my scissors and we're going to follow along those pencil lines. And this can be super messy because no one's ever going to see this part. So you'll see it's just kind of freehand cut and freehand drawn. And so we're just going to trim right along those pieces. And now it's going to be ready to start to work with on our card base. The template is going to be glued onto that white piece that we trimmed earlier that's going to go behind the robot. So I'm just going to layer that right onto the front of the card. And then you'll see here that how we trimmed it, we're going to be able to layer that piece right over because that little trim of the hill is going to line up perfectly. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of that template piece, and then we'll be able to attach it to that white piece that's going to be the base of this whole section of the card, where we're going to have our switch and our copper tape and LED lights going. Next, it's time to work with the switch. Now you're going to notice that the switch is going to look just a little bit different in that they're both going to be longer rectangles. That's because when you cut it out of computer paper, having these rectangles lay on top of each other is going to give it a little bit more sturdiness. When you cut them out of cardstock, you don't need that extra bulk on there. So we're going to cut these two pieces, and we've got the outside and the inside now. So the inside one has the positive and negative, so we're going to fold with those two pieces going on the inside of the fold. And then for the outside piece, we're going to fold it the other way, where that positive sign is on the outside. Then we can take our tape runner and run it all along the inside of that outside piece. And then we'll be able to attach these two pieces together. So you'll see we're going to kind of just fit them right into each other, and that's going to create a switch that looks just like the other ones that we did, where it's going to have the positive on the outside and then the positive and the negative on the inside. Just like before, we're going to add some tape runner to the back, which is going to be the only square that has no printing, and we're going to glue that right onto the template so that the negative track lines up with the negative and the positive track lines up with the positive. Now next we're going to work with our copper tape. So we're going to start on the inside of the switch there on that positive area, and we're going to wrap it around the switch just like we did before, and we're going to follow that template again. So right where we get to that sharp turn, we're going to bend that tape back just a little bit, and that's going to help us move directions and stick it down now going up towards the top of this piece, and then we can continue to follow that track all the way up. And then we'll repeat that with the negative side of the track. So we're going to start on the inside of the switch and just follow that all the way up. Then we can take our bone folder and smooth these pieces down so that there's a nice smooth look and a really nice connection onto our template. We'll attach the LED sticker light to match the template there with the base part at the positive and the pointy part at the negative. And then we're going to use our copper tape to reinforce this sticker again. So we're going to add some copper tape to the top part and the bottom part, and then we'll go ahead and flatten that out with the bone folder so that it's a nice connection. Then we can take our battery, making sure the positive sign is up, and put it inside, and you're going to see that that light is working, which is so super cool. Next, we're going to work with triple foam. So we're going to be trimming down this foam into nice skinny strips. And once again, we're going to go all around those three sides of the battery to make sure that that battery stays in place. So we're going to attach all that foam down and then pick it up to make sure that battery is staying perfectly in place. And now it's great. And then we can add some foam along the rest of this piece. Once that's all done, we can peel up all of that liner paper and we can start to put that piece that we stamped and die cut and colored earlier over top of this. And so this is my favorite favorite part right here. We're going to layer that right on top and it's going to look amazing. Now we have a really different look because the light is going to be diffused through the paper. We don't have vellum, we don't have a hole cut, and so it's a different look but really cool. So kind of depends on what you're going for. In this card, it's more of like this diffused look versus the pinpoint of light that we have on the other robot cards that we created. Then next, I'm going to take that copper tape and make sure to wind it all up. I'm also going to take the rest of my battery stickers there, and I'm going to put them inside of this little kit to keep everything nice and together. So the cool thing is now with these templates, you can imagine that you can make so many different types of cards. You could take a little house and have the windows light up. You could have a little gnome holding a lantern and have that light up. So you can take these templates and apply them to all sorts of different ideas, anything within your imagination. I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with. So right now we've added on that beautiful gold star piece onto our card base, and we've added a little more of that triple foam towards the top there so that everything lines up nicely, and we're going to use some double-sided tape on that piece there to make sure that we adhere that nicely down onto the card front. And now it's time for the finishing touches. So we're going to take the inside part of the A and add a little liquid glue, and we're just going to tape that right down onto the card base. Then we're going to be using these stars from the inside of these stitch star frames. And those little stars are really cute because they create shaker confetti, but in this case we're going to be using it to decorate onto the card. So we die cut that from some gold sparkle cardstock, which is going to match that black sparkle and the embossed stars that we put in the background. And we're going to layer those onto the card base around the thanks sentiment. And I really think this helps make it and adds a little extra sparkle and shine. And here is the finished card. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. It's absolutely adorable. And when you press on there, you can see that whole thing lighting up. It's so cute that you press one of the guy's belly to get the other one to light up. I love the look of both types of cards. You can have the light coming through the cardstock, or you can use that die included to poke the holes in the cardstock to have a brighter stream of light. And so here is a look at the 3 cards we made today. So the ones on the left and the right are the cards that are included in the kit that help you go through and learn how to use these templates, which is so much fun. And then the one in the center is how we took a template and we used our cute little Charge Me Up robots to make a different type of card. You could also take these templates and apply them to all sorts of different stamp sets. So I think this is so cool. It's so much fun. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this kit. We really had a blast working on it with our friends at Chibitronics, so thank you so much, Chibitronics, too. And I like to take the little box that the kit came in. I put my extra tape and lights and also templates that I printed out, the instructions, and also the little sheet that comes in the set that has the website link and the QR code that's going to lead you to the spot on the website where you can print out your templates so that you can make more cards. I like to put them all in the kit so that it's nice and safe and I'm ready to create more light up cards. And this kit has really helped me to want to make more of these types of cards. They're really so much fun and so special, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of the kit and what the people that you send to the cards think about these awesome light up cards. So thank you guys so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!